You know, this conversation and debate has been talked about over and over again, and quite frankly, no one has ever come up with who is actually stronger. Each side normally comes with valid points and semantics to sway one to their position, but quite honestly, most times it comes down to who you like more. Is there an actually definitive answer for who is actually stronger? Maybe, but to determine this, all the facts, feats, and story portrayal points have to be laid out. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. We're going to dissect all the facts, feats, and important moments in the story for both characters to figure out who is actually stronger. So I already have my position, but I'll reveal that at the end. So in the meantime, kick your feet up, like the video, and let's dive off the deep end into Mihawk versus Shanks. So like I said earlier, this debate is not a new one, but it is a fun topic overall to discuss, just due to how many layers make up this debate. You have your die-hard Mihawk fans who are crossover Zoro fans that are loyal to their senpai, and on the other hand, you have die-hard Shanks fans that are crossover Luffy fans, and they're also loyal to their senpai. So which side do you lean to? Which side are you on? But first, let's start with some facts and why this is such a heated debate. Mihawk and Shanks, as we all know, have what can be viewed as a rivalry due to context clues from the manga with brief interactions between the two. I suppose the first we can talk about is Mihawk going to find Shanks on a certain island. Ooh. One Piece does that shit all the time. Anyway, Mihawk seeks out Shanks with his entire crew there and approaches without a worry. The conversation after speaks to their relationship, but it can be interpreted in numerous ways. First off, Mihawk went to find Shanks just to show him Luffy's bounty poster, and this was due to a conversation Shanks had with him long ago. Before they talk about this, Shanks asks Mihawk if he was there to challenge him. Shanks does make sure to somewhat warn Mihawk that he was not in a good mood, but he is prepared to fight. That could be a way of saying, today is just not a day I spar, today is a day I kill. But Mihawk responds somewhat casually, saying he would not want to settle things with a man who has one arm. Now, quick tidbit, but a rumor that has been circulating is that Shanks is not weaker because he has one arm. But that was from a data book, which was somewhat vague with the information. The quote was, even with one arm, his power is overwhelming. He could stop Akainu's Logi attack with his sword. This obviously does not say one way or another if he is weaker, so again, up for interpretation. So Mihawk not wanting to settle things with a man with one arm tells me a few things. One, Mihawk is a man of pride, and in Mihawk's eyes, Shanks is now weaker and unworthy. There would literally be no benefit to him fighting a man with one arm who could not defeat him with two. Another way of viewing this is, yes, indeed, he isn't worthy, but if I do lose, it would be indeed a stain on the greatest swordsman in the world. And again, semantics rule this discussion, I swear. The relationship of these two is extremely interesting, as yes, they are portrayed as rivals, but based on Shanks' dialogue upon them meeting, it seems like it had been a while since it happened. Now, the timeline for all this is a bit vague. However, the newly released Vivid cards, which talks about these characters, give us some context. First, for Shanks, his Vivid card revealed that it's implied that he was a Yonko before meeting Luffy. Quick note, the source I'm using for the Vivid cards is the library of Ohara.com, which is a resource for One Piece readers everywhere, so with this information, you can gain somewhat of a deeper understanding with the characters. Anyway, Shanks had gotten to the pinnacle of the pirate world and Mihawk was still competing. The use of titles can be viewed as frivolous by some fans, but I actually respect these things, even though they can be a bit confusing and vague. The world's strongest man, per se, was a title Whitebeard held, and apparently he had that title before Roger died, even though Roger was the Pirate King. Kaido also being the world's strongest creature is interesting, but which is higher, the creature or the man? Regardless, this brings us to Mihawk and Shanks, in which Shanks has the title of Yonko, while Mihawk is the world's strongest or greatest swordsman. Both variations have been used and made clear that Mihawk is simply the best in the way of the sword. No confusion there. But here is where things get interesting. Upon Mihawk's introduction to B.D.A, he has his duel with Zoro and then a conversation with Luffy. He then asks Luffy his aim and he says Pirate King, to which Mihawk responds, that road is tougher than surpassing him. Now, Shanks is a Yonko, which is a step away from Pirate King, but the argument that is used constantly is that a Yonko includes crew and territories, which is true, but we still use Yonko level as a scale for characters. Mihawk's Vivid card was extremely telling though, as it revealed key information as well. It revealed that Mihawk is the world's greatest swordsman, obviously, and was famous before the Great Pirate era over 2 decades ago. Said he trained for years, challenging worthy foes till he had no more challengers. A key point was that he looks forward to the day that a swordsmaster will emerge to surpass even his rival red-haired Shanks. Arthur, who is the mind behind the Library of Ohara, interpreted this as Mihawk wanting someone stronger than Shanks to challenge him. I actually agree with this, as it is implied as well that things were never settled between the two, and Shanks, of course, lost his arm. With a person even stronger, Mihawk could be pushed to his limits as a swordsman to grow even stronger. That seems like the type of man he is. The final fact I want to mention is the duels that these two had in the past. So again, it's implied that they had many interactions in the past. However, it's confirmed that they had one duel by Whitebeard, and using not only the official Viz translation, but also other translations, I managed to procure this, and it all said one duel. So this legendary duel that even Whitebeard was privy to which had to be something since this was before Shanks lost his arm, must have been quite the spectacle. Well, to me, since it was never settled, which was the dialogue used by Mihawk when he met Shanks, more than likely it was a draw and then they just stopped fighting. Someone could have interrupted him or somebody got hurt. Now, while we're still on feats, Shanks seems to be good at stopping things. He managed to stop Kaido from going to Marineford, stopped Akainu from killing Kobe, stopped or rather ended the war. Unfortunately, he was not able to stop the Sea King from taking his arm off, but he did stop the Sea King from killing Luffy, so there's that. He's also a Yonko though, and using story context and again semantical evidence, he could be lauded as the strongest one. Of course, Whitebeard was considered the strongest heading into the War of the Best, but then it obviously showed Whitebeard just wasn't the same anymore. Now, for Mihawk being the world's greatest swordsman and Shanks being a sword user, technically that would put him over Shanks as a fighter. The rebuttal is that Shanks is more of a fighter who would use haki, but Mihawk is confirmed a user of the color of observation and the color of armament. Now, where the hell does that leave us? We have a Yonko and a sword god, but personally, I lean to Shanks. Now, this isn't disrespect to Mihawk, however, Shanks' color of the conqueror has to play a factor. It has been the strongest we've ever seen in the verse. Of course, as we've seen it progress, it has been more and more explosive, but Shanks' conqueror's haki was able to, you've heard this millions of times before, damage Whitebeard's ship. Yes, I understand the swordsman semantics. However, Rayleigh was there 24 years ago, and obviously he wields a sword, Roger as well. Are you telling me that Mihawk beat both of them? Mihawk said he had challenged everyone there was to challenge. He beat the Pirate King and his right hand as well. This is my logical view of Mihawk and Shanks. Mihawk comes off as a very serious guy, really smiles, and very determined and driven by the way of the sword, speaks in parables and views Yoru as its own entity. Shanks is literally the opposite of that. Free spirit, takes few things seriously, non-committal unless he really cares about something, and always laughing and having a good time. These guys are opposites, so their personalities really explain their paths. Mihawk was a loner and he grew and became the world's strongest swordsman by himself, using of his own merit. And of course, Shanks went out, formed a crew, got some friends, and now he's a Yonko, and again, using semantical evidence in the story, probably the strongest one. So I guess in conclusion, I believe both are very skilled with the sword. Obviously, for Mihawk to be challenging Shanks and for them to be rivals to the world's greatest swordsman, you have to be extremely skilled. But for Mihawk, it's a way of life. For Shanks, it's a way to fight. Mihawk having a black blade while Shanks does not have one, to me isn't a coincidence. Having Mihawk over Shanks would not necessarily make you creditless, because I believe they're somewhat close, but story is leaning me towards Shanks for the reasons previously stated. So please let me know who you think is stronger. I don't think there's a wrong answer here because there's nothing definitive, but I think the story is leaning towards Shanks' side. So again, Mihawk or Shanks? Please leave a comment below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. So I decided to go on the One Piece Reddit to see if there's any debates out there about Mihawk versus Shanks, and of course there is. On the Reddit, it has a full breakdown of Mihawk versus Shanks. I wanted to go over some of the conversation that they were having. So here it has Mihawk is stronger than Shanks, and it has the information saying one reason people give is Shanks isn't a swordsman, swords are a secondary weapon, and he says there's absolutely no proof to support these statements. Shanks has always been shown carrying his swords, and whenever he fights, he uses his sword. Another reason is Shanks may not be as good a swordsman as Mihawk, but he's still as stronger than him, but he still is stronger than him due to haki. His observation, harm, and haki are fair play in swordsmanship. Zoro is one of, if not the most honorable man in the series. If he doesn't hesitate to combine haki with swordplay, then that pretty much means that it isn't considered cheating. Another one is Mihawk and Shanks were equal in the past, but Shanks, due to being a Yonko, kept on getting stronger while Mihawk remained the same. It was confirmed some time ago by Oda in an SBS. There's no swordsman alive, hidden or well known, that is a stronger swordsman than Mihawk. It obviously means Shanks is one of them and is not stronger than Mihawk. Fourth one is that he couldn't stomp Whitebeard's commanders, so he's weak. So he failed to cut Jozu, and he couldn't overwhelm Vista. So with all these points, again, there's evidence there on both sides. Yeah, I don't think Vista has a chance versus Shanks. I don't think he's stepping in the ring with Shanks because he would view Shanks' prestige on the same level of Whitebeard, but Mihawk wasn't even paying attention to Vista. As far as the haki thing, I personally think Shanks' haki is stronger, but Mihawk does use haki as well, and I think in swords fighting, especially on that top tier, you're going to be using haki. Another thing you have people rebutting here saying Shanks is not the strongest swordsman while Mihawk is this not enough evidence? We may not have seen their full capabilities, but we do have their titles to effectively compare them. Like we can use Whitebeard's title to assume that he was stronger than any character in Marineford, and again, that is not the case. Whitebeard at Marineford was not even the strongest Yonko. Personally, Whitebeard at Marineford, I think would have lost to Admirals if it's just a 1v1 and it was straight up. I mean, Akainu could use its full power. Again, in Marineford, Akainu was just trying to defend Marineford, using dialogue saying where Whitebeard was telling him to protect it, and he was telling Whitebeard stop destroying Marineford. So that title was based on a perception of things of the past. Not saying Shanks has surpassed Mihawk in any way. Titles can be skewed and they can give off a false narrative. I don't want to say that's the same with Mihawk, but for Whitebeard, he definitely was not the strongest man in the world. He even said you can't be the strongest man forever. So either way you lean, I'm not gonna kill you. It literally could go either way, but always the conversation is going to continue until Oda gives us something definitive. Personally, I don't think he ever will, just due to the fact that this is kind of like the Zoro and Sanji thing, where more than likely people know Zoro is stronger. A lot of people say Zoro is stronger, but Oda would never ever say that, just because the debate keeps the conversation going. Of course, keeps One Piece on people's minds. So leave your thoughts below on this entire debate. Again, like the video and be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. For real this time. Peace.